Welcome, everybody, to this special Saturday live stream. Just me tonight. No Bobby. Bobby is not joining us, but he will be back next Saturday. Doing something a little out of the ordinary for us. Talking Transformers. Have you guys seen? There's a new Haslab. There's a new Transformers Haslab. I couldn't do this show by myself because I just don't know enough about Transformers, but I do know a little bit about Haslabs, a little bit about Hasbro. And so I do have a very special guest joining me in just a minute. First, I want to say what's up to you guys in the chat. Darkest Cloister, what's going on, man? Master Son 42, this is the same Saturday time it always is there, little buddy. Okay. Okay, Master Son. The Reaper's Apprentice, what's up, man? Collect to Disconnect, Samuel Edwards. V. Conley with the member chat already. Thank you, Mr. Conley. He says, another great evening with the 3POA gang and the Fellowship of the Dollies. Prepping my Steel Brigade armor set and watching the show alongside Samantha. Well, hello to you and Samantha. Yeah, the Fellowship of the Dollies. I'm going to be joining Chad tomorrow on his live stream. So check that out. Nikatronus, what's up? Vishay, thank you, man. Samuel Edwards, Peak Obi-Wan, what's up? DJ Bill Utley says howdy. What's up, man? Paul Morales, Brian Stevenson, Robert's Infinite Realms. What's going on, Robert? A World Made of Cardboard. How's it going? We got Headcanon, Hopkins, Von Rabatarius. What's up, dude? Ted Millick, Legion X. That's a new one. What's going on, Legion X? We got D.A. Mac, Tyler Lalone. Tyler, how you doing? Stanley's Toy Channel, IHB Deadly, Curse of Fenrir, Lizard King. Made it on time. Thank you for being here. We got 8 and Skate. What's going on, 8 and Skate? How you doing, man? And Greg Fenstad, Junkion, Crafts and Builds. What's up, Junkion? Harry O, good to see you. KJ Smith, what's up? Jeff Morris, everyone is here. Wow, got a full house. Alex S, Brian Stevenson. It's already at 6,000 out of 10,000 needed with 41 days left. Ooh, that Haslab, huh? It's looking good for that Haslab if you want it. Stryden, the Titan, Andre Cologne. What's going on? ML series. Haven't seen you in a while. What's up, buddy? How you doing? And PDR Action Figures 81. Bees Battlegrounds. What's going on? Transformer. Never heard of her. All right. Without further ado, I want to bring in my guest. I've been watching his channel on and off for a few years now. He dabbles in toys a little bit, but he is from across the pond. He said he's going to talk slow for us Americans tonight. He has a very thick Irish accent, and that is my friend Ninja Knight. Ninja Knight, welcome to the show for the first time, man.
Hello, thanks for having me. I really appreciate you having me on.
Absolutely. I'm glad you're here because, like I said, I'm not like some Transformer expert. I'm not a Transformer savant by any means, but that's definitely your wheelhouse, right?
Well, yeah, I would say, yeah. I've grown up with Transformers all through my life, and it's something that I'm very keenly passionate about. I can spy that Optimus Prime you have in the background there. I think we'll talk about that tonight because I think that factors into something that you've said yourself, which I think actually would make a good Haslab, which is an Optimus Prime that would scale with the G.I. Joe classified, you know. How come they don't have you working at Hasbro? I think that's a clever idea. We'll get a chat about that tonight. We will see what these people have been saying at that company, and it's very strange things that are happening when you have good ideas like yours there that are very easy to do. I would assume.
Yeah.
Of course, the gurus amongst us probably would say it's very difficult to do that. So it's nice to see that fans have good ideas and sometimes better ideas than the company themselves.
Yeah, and I mean that's my idea, and I'm like I said, I'm not even a huge Transformers fan. I did get into the War for Cybertron stuff, which I thought was a pretty good line. Even though it's right when they raised prices, and I was kind of like, this seems like it costs too much, but I didn't know much about Transformers, so I was kind of picking up the ones that I wanted. It got to a point where I'm at a room in my collection room.
Yeah,
and so of everything, I was like, well, the first thing that's got to get boxed up is the Transformers. but I do like G1, right?
Yes, yeah. G1 is the beginning.
Right. And Optimus Prime is like the most iconic Transformer, especially
Yeah.
his look. And so when I saw that Lumen Atlas MP01, whatever, I forget everything is what all it's called. I was like, I'll just have one Transformer on display, and it's that one.
He's cool. I have to say he looks really good. I like the size as well too. The scale of it, it's really nice. I've lost count of the amount of Optimus Primes that I have in my own collection as well. It's a funny thing, Every time like my parents come over and they'd see my display room, they'd be saying, is that another new Optimus Prime that you have?" And I'd say, "How did you know?" And they'd say,
Yeah,
"Well, it looks a little bit different than the 50 other ones that you have there."
right. So is Transformers like is that your go-to line, or tell us a little bit about what you collect?
Everything really.
Okay,
It's Transformers, GI Joe classified. So dabble in a little bit of Star Wars, less so nowadays. A little bit
sure.
of Marvel Legends and Mezco. I've been getting into Mezcos a lot lately since the Power Rangers were released, and I've gotten the Crow beforehand, and a couple of others like the Netflix Daredevil and the Punisher when they did them,
Those are good.
and
I like
they
those.
are really good figures. The head sculpts I think are really really good.
Yeah.
The Batman and Superman as well from the Justice League and the
Mhm.
previous Zack Snyder movie. So I've gotten them. A little bit of Mayfix as well too. I'm fully in agreement with you when you say that you think that Mayfix are the best figures around. I agree. I think they knock it out of the park once. I've got a Mayfix Homelander from the boys, and he's just amazing. Like I
Ah,
love
there you
that
go.
figure so much. I think he's really really good.
Yeah, yeah, right on. Okay. Well, I tell you what, let's just get into it. So it's kind of that time of year. The Hasbro brands are kicking off their Haslabs. Transformers is coming first this year, and I I was kind of like, what is this now?
hmm
As a casual fan, mostly G1 fan, it's going to be the Omega Prime from
Yeah.
Transformers: Robots in Disguise, which is a 2001 animated series, right?
Yeah, it's a really strange one to choose, and I have my own thoughts on that now as we go through this. But it didn't. It's the 40th anniversary of Transformers this year, being 2024. So it all kicked off in 1984, as you know. But what's odd about it, and what you mentioned just there, is that they've actually kicked this HasLab out. This was supposed to be last year. This was actually supposed to be in 2023, and they said
Oh,
they would announce it in the new year. So it's actually quite a strange thing to have happened. Now, had that got something to do with maybe the failures or the near failures there, for example, from Marvel Legends and the failures with Star Wars? Who knows? But I think we really learned something when we saw the comments from the Marvel Legends team on the return on investment. And I think this is an example of a return on investment here. I think that this is HasLab, excuse me, is a real return on investment. I think they know that this is a surefire win. I think it's very safe.
um, real quick, I got to bring this up because Samantha Blue Serendipity says, "Holy hell, his accent is amazing, yummy."
I
I
appreciate that. Thank
I
you.
gotta say, I'm not into dudes, but when I hear, what do you say, a nice lass, Irish lass
Yeah,
with
uh,
a nice red head of hair and a thick Irish accent, that's
we'd call women over here boards. So like like a board, like a bird or something like that. You might say BIRD, flipping the
okay.
board. Yeah, we'd
Gotcha.
say board.
Right on. All right. I just thought that was funny. Okay, we can get back into Transformers.
I appreciate all compliments. I really do.
And like you're talking fast, right? But
Yeah,
not as fast as you usually do, and I appreciate that. You are trying to slow down for us.
I'm trying my best here.
Yeah, no, you're doing good. Real quick, thanks for the member chat, Kevin D'Antonio. He says, "How you doing, Ryan? Finally here again for the live. Thank you for the member chat, dude. Appreciate you." And then we got my buddy Articulated Ninja, and he says, "We got another ninja in the house. What's up, Ninja Knight and Mr. Tato?"
What a
So
legend.
yeah,
The articulated ninja. What an absolute legend. Love his
yeah,
videos. He's doing insane work.
he is. He is. Especially I think he's on a lot of people's radars because of Haslab,
Yeah,
right?
big time. Yeah,
Yeah,
he's upset a lot of people. He has with his HasLab comments.
yeah. All right, so let's get into this Haslab. So this is Omega Prime, but this one here,
Yeah,
this is Optimus Prime's look in the show, right?
yeah, It's a
Th-
it's a pretty good representation.
yeah, this is now wait a minute. You got to explain this to me, dude, because I am not I am not up to speed. But it looks like he's more armored up here.
Yeah, so what happens is he's a fire truck. He is like a
Okay.
Japanese fire truck. I'll give you just a little bit of background on this show actually, and this is why it's weird. And what I mean by that is, I think the team picking the Haslabs the way they have is quite strange for the last couple of years. What happened was in 2001, this was actually released as an anime or an anime, whatever way you want to pronounce it, in Japan, and Hasbro had just come off Beast Wars and Beast Machines. You would remember Beast Wars and Beast Machines as well, wouldn't you?
Oh, Beast Wars was my favorite version of Transformers.
I
Um,
love it. I grew up with that. That was my jam, 100%.
so we're probably about the same age then.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Beast Wars was it for me. Beast Machines got a little weird, but
yeah.
I love Beast Wars.
So Beast Machines didn't really land the way they thought it was going to land. It did an awful lot of things that were different. You know yourself, you've seen the show.
Right.
And what happened was then they were in a kind of a state of flux where they didn't know what to do. And this show aired in Japan. And what they did was they brought it across and dubbed it really quickly and released a toy line as fast as they could because they wanted the Autobots to be back on the scene and change back to having vehicles rather than having just all animals warring against each other. So
Right.
this is a result of that, and what has been noted by me, to be honest with you, since the initial Haslab, which was Unicron, which was debating. I think it was a big debate in the fandom as to whether that really succeeded or not, because that was given an extension as well.
But yeah,
But
quite a bit, several weeks.
but what I would note as well, and just being the Transformers fan, is in and around that time, MP44, which was Optimus Prime, where the trailer came out. So I think that was the third iteration of Optimus Prime, and that actually then meant that you were spending in and around $1,000 between that Optimus Prime and the Unicron that year. So I think
Yeah.
that that's why Unicron struggled really. Now I'm not making excuses for him because here's the thing, like I think it was $400. I think it was for that MPM 44, and it was like
Yes,
crazy.
it was 4 or 450. It was crazy expensive.
That is crazy considering the fact you get a quite similar version that's 18 inches and it does some other things, you know.
Right.
But
Yep.
anyway, going back to these guys here, so this is a very safe Haslab because after Unicron got over the line, what they did was they went to the Japanese G1 with Star Saber, and then they followed it up with his villain, which was Deathsaurus.
Right.
So this year they've gone with this. This is a very niche Haslab, and I think going from Evan, who was one of the Hasbro, I don't know whether he's a marketer or designer, but he is definitely a big fan of the Japanese figures. So I think this is an explanation as to why they have this as a Haslab, but also I think it's why we're getting something as safe as this because the return on investment.
Gotcha. So I think it's definitely more obscure than a Unicron.
Hmm.
And even like Star Saber and Deathosaurus to me were, I was like, who? You know.
Yeah, yep. I
Um,
don't think you can go wrong with an Optimus Prime now, which is why I think that they're getting the backers. They're not getting the backers, I don't think, as quickly as the previous Haslabs, which I'm sure they're a bit like, oh, this isn't as good as we thought it was going to be. I think they might have thought that this was a day one success.
especially after what the one of the guys on the Transformers team said last year that a Prime would never be a Haslab.
Yeah, that had been said, and then he was on the stream and he was like, "Oh, I might have spoken too quickly and too
Yeah,
soon," and I was like, that seems like you might have had something else up your sleeve, and maybe other things that were going on. The company halted it. Like Primus was the obvious choice here. The obvious choice was Primus. You know, Cybertron that transforms into Primus. That was the obvious choice.
gotcha.
So
Yeah, it almost feels like, and even with Star Saber and Deathosaurus, I think they were Haslabs because they're so obscure, and they'd be
yeah,
afraid of do enough people are enough fans familiar with them to spend the amount of money retail on them, right? That's why,
yeah,
because Unicron was massive. Unicron was a $500 toy.
yeah. He's huge. He's
Yeah,
absolutely enormous, and I think this is the point that even retro blasting, shout out to retro blasting and the great work that he does there. Like he made the point of like this is a slippery slope, and here's the slippery slope. There's no reason why this toy shouldn't be a mass-produced retail item. Unicron I can give you a little bit of leeway on, and maybe Cybertron Primus, but this is a retail item, 100%.
yeah. Um, let's see here. Hopkins Van Rabataria says they threw that Primus in the picture just to tickle the pickle, but leave it in the jar.
I like that one. I like that. Yeah, that's true.
Okay, so here's Prime. Now this is like a well, let me just read it. I got the write up here that Hasbro put out. Two Autobots bonded like brothers, yet divided by destiny. Optimus Prime was chosen to be the bearer of the matrix of leadership and the next commander of the Autobots. Okay, so far all that makes sense to me. Leaving
Yeah.
Ultra Magnus scornful and bitter. Ultra Magnus challenged Optimus Prime for possession of the matrix of leadership and Autobot command. In the middle of the battle, the two combined into a new form, Ultimate Energy Combiner Omega Prime. So you got Optimus there. So this is Optimus. And then this is like his armored up version, right?
Yeah. It's like a super mode, yeah.
Yeah. Where you combine it with this thing, or that's one of the modes, or you tell me. You would know.
So what happens is there the front of the cab there, we see where the Japanese writing is there.
Yeah.
That splits off from the rest of it does, and that transforms into the smaller robot you just saw. And then the rest of the stuff that's there, then the back end of it with the ladder, that combines with the Optimus Prime, the smaller one, to make that bigger one with the red face mask and the I think they're vac metal, to make that there. So it's again, we've seen it with Armada Optimus Prime there, where they had a Transformer, an Optimus Prime that combined with his trailer. So again, looking at this, it's a very strange decision to make. Do I think it looks good? I do. I think it looks great, and I think it's something that I think a lot of people are obviously backing. But the community, the fan community, are totally split on this one. There's a lot of people that are really upset by it, and understandably so. This is a very niche version of Optimus Prime, but I think most people are echoing my sentiments, which are there's no reason this should be Haslab. It should be retail.
Yeah, I mean, they were talking about how big it was during the stream, and they had it on the table, and I'm like, doesn't look that big to me.
No,
I mean, I mean, I've had what was it, Titanus, the big dinosaur
from Power Rangers?
No, I'm sorry, it was the big T-Rex looking transformer from
Trypticon.
Trypticon, that's the one. I had that.
Yeah,
and
the G1 toy.
Not G1, the one from, it was either Combiner Wars or Power of the Primes, I think.
Oh yeah, the Titan Return. Was it Titan's Return? Was it?
Yeah, Titan's Return. That's the one. That's the one I had. Because I got it at Ross for like $50.
See, that's what I think they're avoiding here. I think they're avoiding Ross with these items. I think these big ticket items are going to start becoming either Hasbro Pulse exclusives or Haslabs. I think that's what we're seeing here in real time. I really do.
Lower production runs, direct to consumer. So they still have plenty of profit there, especially direct to consumer. Made to order. They won't have extras, right?
Yeah.
But so basically you get Optimus Prime here, and then Ultra Magnus, which that's a lot different than the Ultra Magnus I'm familiar with.
Yeah, the Robert Stack version of the G1 cartoon. Yeah, it's it's a weird looking. It's what did they say in the stream? 75% leg. I don't disagree with them on that one, but the back of it's very hollow. Like the back of his legs are quite hollow.
Really? Let's see if they have that shown here.
They should be there, yeah. No, it should be there. Yeah. I think it's the next picture. Is it that you have there?
Oh, here it is.
No, they don't have it there. No,
that's still the front, yeah. But so you're getting to, and these are called Commander class, these size Transformers.
Yeah, so like breaking it down cost wise, I have to be honest with you. I do think the cost for it is in line with what we're seeing at retail, which I think is what's throwing a lot of people. So here in Ireland, a Commander class figure is €110, and that means that you're paying $220 there for the two Commanders. It's about €30 for a deluxe, so that brings you up then to $250. So there's a little bit of wiggle room there, I think. And then when you think about the stand and then you think about the sword, it probably does. And then they said there might be another surprise that's going to be added to this if it funds. So we'll see what that means if it gets going. But yeah, I think it's in line with what we're saying, which means, like I said, you won't be seeing it getting reduced to a price that's a lot cheaper, you know?
Right. Yeah, if you want it, you're going to have to back it. But so the Optimus Prime is 8.5 inches tall. The command center, this is going to be 15 inches tall. So that's good size.
Yeah, it's a very good size.
Yeah, you're going to get a 2 matrix of leadership accessories. The
Yeah.
Ultra Magnus is the big one. He's 11.5 inches tall. And then there's this third little dude, Blue Bolt. And it looks like he transforms into their weapon. Is that correct?
Yeah, they're using this weaponizer thing where he transforms into a weapon. It didn't do that in the show, so I think I think they added this smaller transformer to bulk it up a little bit. Like it's pretty basic. These weaponizers are pretty basic, you know.
Yeah. I mean, that looks like something that I would just buy off the shelf. It doesn't look special, you know.
No, it's not as like the weird thing about this is that and I think why there was an awful lot of talk in the fandom was because it's like just a better articulated version of the original, and people are like, but if I have the original or the Encore version, now the Encore version is more expensive than the Haslab currently, which is very strange, obviously. So that's why people are justifying the price a lot. But yeah, I think overall, I think looking at it, I think it looks okay, but it's not like really blowing anyone away with what it's done. It's nothing new, you know?
Right. I mean, this looks like individually they look like something I would buy off the shelf at Target.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so all three of these dudes combine up to Omega Prime. And I mean, I gotta say, I think it looks pretty damn cool. That's a cool look for a Transformer. In Omega Prime mode, he's 13.75 inches tall. So
plenty of inches there.
What's that?
Plenty of inches there.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's going to complain about that. Yeah, but no, I think he looks like a cool Transformer. Just not from a series that I'm familiar with at all, actually. But you said this was a direct follow up to Beast Machines. It continues that story.
No, it doesn't. It sets itself in its own universe, but it was like a really quick decision. See, Armada followed shortly after that in 2002, and Armada was when I think personally the real resurgence in Transformers began, because they included minicons that unlocked the gimmick within the Transformer. Aaron Archer was responsible for that there, who was at Hasbro, and it was very toyetic. You know, there was something really nice about that. That gimmick that they included, and then they included other gimmicks. But the minicon one is something that is still kind of in use to today. Like they usually have like these like little automorph gimmicks was what they used in the movie line. That was kind of reminiscent of the minicons. But it's a strange one because, you know, the original RID, Robots in Disguise, Optimus Prime and Ultra Magnus had electronics, and they said that this won't include electronics.
They did say that. They were very specific about that. It does say they have vac metal eyes, which that's cool.
That's something Super 7 can't do. Did you know that?
Apparently not, unless you know they get it on the unless they want to do a redo to get you buy them again, like Silverhawks, right?
That's weird how Hasbro can do that and Super 7 can't, isn't it? That's strange.
Pretty weird, yeah. So this whole package here is $250. Need 10,000 units sold to fund at the minimum. It's at 6,000 right now. I mean, I should have had that pulled up, but I will pull that up.
It's okay. We'll forgive you. The chat will forgive you. It's okay.
No, they won't. Have you seen this, Joe?
Yes,
gonna rip me a new one. All right. Speaking of the chat, let's go to them. There was a few comments I wanted to get to. Hey, Vishay's right there with us. He says Beast Wars was legendary. Beast Machines was the follow-up, and it was cool, but not as cool as Beast Wars. Yeah. It got very like esoteric. It was very, I don't know. It was weird. Scott Hughes says, once I saw Transformers the movie in '86, I never watched another Transformers cartoon. It's too sad.
Were you traumatized?
No.
Were you traumatized?
Maybe Scott was. I wasn't. But
you didn't care.
I wasn't that attached to Optimus Prime either. I thought Transformers were cool, but I was like, okay,
were you more of a Joe guy? Were you more of a Joe guy then, or was it Star Wars or
Star Wars, DC? Yeah, I was very like laser focused on what I liked as a kid. So to break me out of anything that I was into to get into something else, it wasn't going to happen. Like I never got into He-Man or Thundercats. I was all about Super Friends, DC. I was all about Star Wars. What got me into Marvel was like the Toy Biz line,
Yeah.
The Toy Biz superheroes, and then later on they did the X-Men in the 90s. And then my brother would bring home Marvel Comics, my older brother.
Okay, right,
And
yeah.
so, yeah.
And
But
who would be your favorite hero there from the Marvel comics?
nowadays,
Yeah,
or as a kid, Spider-Man for sure as a kid.
Spider-Man.
Nowadays, probably still Spider-Man, but I do feel like a little bit of burnout with that character,
Right, okay.
just because there's been so many movies and
Would
every
you
time you turn around, Marvel Legends is putting out a new Spider-Man. So
Are you gonna grab the Mezco version of it? The amazing is it Amazing Fantasy one that's coming out?
no, I passed on that one. I
Really?
didn't like the way it looked.
Did you? Oh yeah, it's kind of the head looks really big, doesn't it?
I just think the whole thing, Mezco has their style, and I like the Mezco style, which leans a little Mego-y, right? They look a
Yeah,
little bit more like a Mego doll, or I won't say they look like a Mego doll, but they're closer to that style than like an action figure.
yeah.
And the Spider-Man to me just leaned way too much that way, and I just didn't like the look of it, so I didn't get that one.
Did you get a Doctor Doom?
I do. I haven't opened it yet. I got it
Man,
right
that
here in the box.
it looks so good. That Doctor Doom looks really good. I got
Yeah.
Ghost Rider recently myself. The Ghost Rider's really nice.
I like the Ghost Rider. I just wasn't a big enough fan of Ghost Rider to spend the 250.
Yeah, it's
So,
expensive.
yeah. I mean, I collect a lot of lines, and the last year or two I've been more picky, I guess.
You kind of have to be in this climate, don't you? Like it's expensive nowadays.
Yep, absolutely. Let's see here. Embargo with the member chat. Thanks. He says my badge is purple now. That's cool. Right on. Are you at the? I think 6 month is like the final tier. I don't know. There might be more. But thank you, Michael. We got Headcanon with the member chat. Thank you, sir. If they wanted to do robots in disguise, they should have done the train team. 3 train bots that combine, make each train around 20 inches. The combiner would be huge. Now, look, I'm not familiar with the train bots, but my idea was to do that, but with Devastator,
Yeah.
right? Make a massive Devastator, because I've always loved Devastator. I don't have one. I used to have the vintage one, but that would be cool. Like
Like
each what if each of the Constructicons was like 12 inches tall, and then they
you
combined to make this massive. That would be so cool. They could totally do it.
100%. I think what you're saying now is like there was a Devastator that came out in Combiner Wars there was years ago. Is
Right.
I think he might be 18 inches. I think he's 18 inches. He is now. He's still good and he's not as solid as I would like him to be. But just looking at the years here, like Devastator made a big impact in the 1986 movie, so we
Hmm.
would expect that he would be the anniversary, I suppose, of the 86 movie Haslab maybe in 2 years' time. I actually think that the RID train bots, I think they'll be the Titan class for 2025. I think that they will be that because when you're seeing Tidal Wave and you're reading the tea leaves a little bit, I
Hmm.
think they are much larger than Omega Prime. And that Omega Prime is actually a nearly, I think it's actually either the same scale or nearly 1-to-1 scale. Well, that would be the same scale. Or if it's close to 1-to-1 scale of the original, which is actually a lot larger. Because we were talking about Siege, Ryan, and they what they did was with Siege, they told you that they were and told us obviously as fans that they were downsizing some of the transformers to fit this new scale chart that they were doing. So
Hmm.
that was how they explained away the downsizing of transformers. And now we have this RID Optimus that will be a lot bigger than everything in the collection. So it doesn't really fit. You know
Right.
what I mean? So that's why a lot of people are like the scale is even off, like it's weird. But I think the Triumph bots would make sense for a Titan class in 2025.
Gotcha. I see so much third party stuff, and it's like I
Hmm.
get confused of what's from what line. Someone's doing train bots. I've seen them recently.
Yeah, Takara are doing a version of them. It's called Raiden or
Okay.
Raiden, whichever way you pronounce it. And I would pronounce it Raiden, obviously. But there's like 5 of them there is, and they combine. But that's at the masterpiece level, so that's actually quite expensive to complete that set. But Devastator hasn't been done at a masterpiece level, but I expect it will be soon, if not maybe in this Haslab they will do something like it. But yeah, it's a strange one to not appeal. Devastator was obviously another one where people were thinking of going for, and like yourself there, I don't know whether you would have backed the Haslab of Devastator, but a lot of people were saying that they would have done that, or Primus, they would have definitely backed it.
I probably would have backed a Devastator if if he would have like combined to the size of like one of the Haslab Sentinels or something. I
Yeah,
probably would have jumped in. But although this character does look cool, this Omega Prime, I'm just I'm not I'm not familiar with it, so I'm not going to spend $250 on it.
it's not for you. And like when you
Right?
think about that, that's $250,000. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like that's a lot.
it's a lot, man.
You know,
Yeah. Hey, thank you, Headcanon. And then we got a super chat from Kent Heltzinger. Thank you for the super chat. Why did they Haslab this at $250 and release the tidal wave for Armada at $200 for mainline?
you're asking the right
Uh,
questions.
yeah. Tell me a
You're
little
asking.
bit about that tidal wave for Armada.
So tidal wave is the way I look at it, and another a point that I just wanted to bring up as well too was repaint potential, and that's what obviously Hasbro are really good at doing. But what's very strange about Tidal Wave is Tidal Wave has a built-in repaint, I think, 2 times over. So he has one from
Okay.
Energon, which is the same figure with like a lightning paint, and then there's a video game version or a toy version of it that you can get out of that. So they can repaint that figure 3 times, and no one's going to complain too much because that's all canon as such. So that's why I think that they were doing that. However, this Omega Prime is an interesting thing, and the designer, I think he's the designer, Evan, has actually remarked on an Instagram in responses when people were asking about a splendid version, which is a yellow version of this Optimus Prime. And he was like, "Oh, that's getting a lot of questions and comments. I'm seeing an awful lot of that. We could release that. So hold on, you
Mhm.
can crowdfund this item, but you can put out the repaint of it to mass retail. Like that's very strange. Now we know, and when I say that's very strange, we know why they're doing it. You're funding it up
Right.
front. They're putting the money into their bank account, and then they're going to get the repaint out of it eventually. But it's very strange and very fascinating at the same time to see what they're doing.
Right. Strident says they already have a Titan class Devastator. He's standing on my shelf. Is
Yeah,
that the Combiner Wars one?
that's the one. Yeah, I think what
Yeah.
people are asking for that was probably a sturdier version of it that's a little bit more updated and potentially in scale. I actually
Sure.
again, because it's a number of years ago now, I actually don't know what year the Combiner Wars was. I think it's nearly 10 years ago. So
Yep.
there's people that are probably not even collecting then that are now collecting that want it. So getting good luck getting it on the aftermarket, I'd say, at a good price.
Yeah, and that's why I haven't gotten that one, just because the aftermarket price is too high for what it is. And I've talked to like my buddy Drew G. He has one, and
Hmm.
he's like, it's good, but it's not that good. So
Yeah,
I wouldn't pay more than retail for it if it was still available.
like Metroplex is insane on the secondary market. Insane.
Yes. Yes.
That price,
And
that's
you know what? Those
crazy.
all went to discount here in the States. Metroplex
Yeah.
was sitting at Ross.
A friend of mine got that from me from Ross, and I was like, "This is insane! Like, it's a 2 foot tall transformer. It's really cool." And then, like years later, you see them blow up to like $700, $800, and I'm like, "Should have bought three."
Yeah.
I'm just
Yeah.
joking. People would be saying, "Oh, he's a scalper," and I'd be like, "No, no, no.
I
it's
mean,
just a
listen,
joke."
if you buy something at Ross for $50 and the retail is 150, and
Hmm.
then, later on when it's selling for 300, you sell it for 150, I think
Yeah, it
that's
doesn't make
fair.
sense. Yeah,
I mean, that's not to me that's not scalping. You're selling it at retail
yeah,
for a good price cuz everyone else is selling it for 300,
yeah.
you know.
That's true. It's when you see some of those Valaverse ones, and Valaverse is it's a deadline now. It's not going anywhere. The
No,
Action
yeah, it's
Force, yeah,
over. Yeah.
it's over. It's finished. But when you see Pandora doing so well, you're like, well,
She is. Yeah. Um
more Irish characters, Bobby. More Irish characters. That's the key.
well, he said he's doing her brother.
Oh, nice,
He's going to make the brother character from the comic. I think he said series 6. I mean, that could
sweet.
change. That's a ways out, but
Yeah, I like the Buddha that's coming along though. I know they've renamed them. What's the rename to it? Is it
Senshi.
Sensei? Senshi.
Senshi. Yep. It's
Okay,
like Japanese for like warrior.
nice.
Okay. So let's get back to this Haslab. I want to bring up the unlock tiers. So the first unlockable tier is at 13,000. So 10,000 base to fund the thing, 250 a pop. They get to 13, you're going to get the Matrix Blade accessory. And it's huge, dude. That thing is 23.5 inches long. High.
Good luck measuring that up against anything else, guys, is all I'd say.
Yeah. So is this like something he gets later on, or is this essential to the character? Should this be an unlock? What do you think?
It actually is essential to the character because it's something that he uses like kind of in the last battle. So yeah, it's needed, and it can be wielded by a Titan called Brave Maximus. So it's possible that they might release a repaint of that too, or maybe an all new sculpt. And they know people are crying out for Metroplex. They know people want another Fort Max. I'd say that there's a built-in game here. I think there's a built-in plan. It's get this and we'll see how things go. I think that's why, I think Marvel Legends itself, I think it's an interesting comment to make, which is I think they had planned a lot of Ghost Rider figures and Ghost Rider adjacent waves for that Haslab. And when that fell flat on its face, I think they don't want to do that again. So I think they're testing the market with this guy here, and then they'll be like, okay, we'll put the other stuff into production. I think that's what's going on.
Nikatrona says that sword goes to Fort Max. So, yeah, there you go. Like you said. Okay, 13,000. Let me pull up Hasbro Pulse real quick.
What's it doing? What numbers is it doing? It has to be close to 7,000.
I looked earlier today, and it was 6,000 something.
It's a slower crawl than I thought it would be, because this isn't Optimus Prime. This is your flagship character, really. It's a slower crawl. Like I noticed as well too that the guys from Hasbro on Instagram were really slow to post about this. I think they got a feeling in the chat. The chat was insane on the day. The chat in Hasbro Pulse was insane when they revealed this.
I didn't watch it, but you sent me some screenshots, and we're going to get to it. But so yeah, 6,359 right now out of 10,000 with 40 days to go. I mean, I think it's going to fund for sure.
Yeah.
13,000. Yeah, I think it'll get there too, because we know the last couple of days are always huge, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I love the people that are like, I'll back it when it funds. And it's like, then you get the counter argument from people, which is like, just back it now. They're not going to take the money until the March 14th. And still, there's still people that are like, no, I'm not going to back it until the last day, until it's actually funded. It's hilarious. I love it.
Yeah. Rocco loves your voice too, man.
Thanks very much. Much appreciated.
Hey, if you want to hear more Ninja Knight voice, link to his channel is in the description below. So check that out.
And just to preface that, I will be putting up more content to do with toys and entertainment and stuff like that. I haven't for a while, but I will be putting more content up with that.
All right, sounds good. Okay, unlockable tier 2 at 16,000. I think it's an attainable goal where it sits right now, but I'm not as confident in the 13,000, for the sword. But it's 2 combinable global space bridge display stands. Okay.
Yeah, so this is actually something from the show as well, which is nice. The display stands have been something that have been a factor with the Transformers Haslabs thus far. So yeah, it's something that combines into a road. They use it in the show, and it can transport them all around the world, really. So yeah, it's something from that. I can't really. There's nothing really that could be added to this that I think is going to absolutely bowl people over, and I think that's what's most upsetting. I think for the Transformers community, 40 years. And an expectation of Primus or a Studio Series Devastator, and this is what you're treated to. It's like, okay, it's a very deflating, and especially at the start of the year, like this wouldn't have been what I would have done if I was them.
Yeah,
and I think they knew it from the chat. Like I could see them glancing at the chat, and I could see like nearly the panic on their faces towards the end when they were like, "Oh, we have to release this now on social media, and we're gonna get lit up on social media."
I think they're doing better than Star Wars team, though.
For sure. The one thing I can say is, for sure, the one thing I can say is that the guys in the Transformers team are passionate about it. I like their passion. Now, one of the guys that seems to be, how can we say, he seems to be very erratic on some of the streams. He seems like he's You might be friends with Scooby and Shaggy
Right?
from Scooby Doo. Yeah, he wasn't there on this stream. They seemed to pull him away from this one. But that dude has actually blocked me on Instagram because I asked what happened to Victory Sabers that were cancelled in Europe. So I did a video, probably last year, the year before, I think now, and
Yeah.
I wondered where all of the European orders for Victory Saber went because they cancelled them on Christmas Eve and never got onto people and said, "Hey, look, we have your Victory Saber here. Here's what we can do." Now I know that they're a multi-billion-dollar company and they're never going to look out for the fans, but that
Right.
was a really negative experience for a lot of people. I mean, even
For
Nick
sure.
Roach, who wrote and drew Transformers and is doing it for the Earthspark TV show. I don't recommend that TV show. He didn't even get his. You know,
That is so weird. And they gave no explanation why they were canceled?
nothing, nothing.
That's that's weird.
And even the Unicron had QC, not QC issues. QC issue would be the wrong word, but they paraded it around with particular paint apps through
Right.
multiple cons, and then when it actually came out, then there was paint apps missing on the figure. So the bottom of the teeth, the maw, and then also then the bottom of or the palm of his hands. So it might seem like nothing, but like when the top teeth are silver and the bottom teeth are blue, it's weird. It's way off.
And I mean, you know what? That's the thing about Haslab is that every single Haslab has had an issue. I think,
Yeah.
similar to the one you just stated. I think except Galactus. I don't remember there being. Oh no, there was, because the Silver Surfer was solicited with 2 effects pieces,
Hmm.
power effects pieces, and he came with 1.
And he's not pinless, by the way.
And
Isn't that weird?
he is not pinless.
Isn't it? It's almost like they want to sell you on yet another Silver Surfer, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, that's Marvel Legends game. They always want to sell you the next one that's slightly better.
Yeah, yeah. I hate that. That's why I like the Mayfix stuff. I'm like, there's no messing around with these people. They just give you what you want, and then it's done.
Yep, that's why I say, I mean, Mafex, yes, they're expensive. They're about 80 to
Hmm.
$100, but you're getting the one that you want. Like, you can be one and done.
I have all of their Dark Knight Returns figures, so that's actually quite expensive when you pull them all together.
Right.
I do try and tell the significant other that they aren't that expensive, but sometimes she finds out, and I don't really fuss about that. But
Right.
when you put them together collectively, you're like, that's a chunk of change, but I don't have to buy them again. I'm done.
That's
You
right.
know what I mean?
You have your definitive Deadpool, or
Yeah,
Spider-Man. I do want to back up a little bit though, because you said the Transformer guy, the guy that I think looks like the biggest pothead ever. I'm not knocking him for that. I don't care. He's funny on streams,
yeah,
but he blocked you.
yeah. Blocked me on Twitter. Oh, not on Twitter. I think it was Instagram. It was. Yeah, it was Instagram. So really
Okay.
strange one because again, I was wondering where Victory Saber was, and then of course, then you get a couple of people that respond in comments. Then that are yeah, they're just very strange people that do hang around some of those comments. And of course, then when you respond to them in kind and you ask, well, hang on, how come people in an entire continent here be backing a figure and then not get the figure? That's wrong. But then you have the shills that will come out, and then I think that's probably what happens. And then you know yourself how
Sure.
these things go.
But now you got a refund, or you did, or you how did that work?
Yeah,
Did you
so
pay and then get a refund?
yeah, so everyone was refunded they were for it, and it was just a sorry guys. But what happened was it was funny because not funny, but it was ironic because Zavi they were the ones that were basically the go-to store for Haslabs in Europe, and then I think there was some sort of monetary or financial issues with them, and they haven't really been the same. And Hasbro then said that they didn't pay up, but then I'm asking, like, well, where did all of these HasLab Victory Sabers go then? So how was it
Right.
that there was nothing in Europe? And when they opened, Hasbro pulled to Europe. And I heard a rumor not too long ago, and again, this is speculation and allegedly, but it seems like the Hasbro Europe is run by like 10 people or something like that. So it's a
Right.
very strange system. And it's very unprofessional. Like when you have the GI Joe classified lady Emily, not knowing that GI Joe classified has been pulled from stores here in Ireland and all over
That's
Europe
weird. That was
and made
weird,
a
man.
Hasbro Pulse exclusive. It's very odd.
Okay, speaking of the GI Joe team,
Hmm.
I am blocked by one of them,
Wow.
and I never had any interaction with them. It's Lenny. Lenny
Oh,
Panzica, blocked me on Instagram. I didn't even know he was on Instagram. And then someone tagged him in something. I'm like, who? His Instagram name is like Weather Dominator.
okay.
So I clicked on it and I couldn't see it because I was blocked, right? And I'm like, who is this? Come to find out, it's Lenny. I'm like, he blocked. I never followed him. I never talked about his mama. I never insulted him, right? Bobby has quite a bit on the show, so it's probably guilt by association, right?
I was just gonna say that.
But I mean, whether we are positive or negative about the product on our show, it's still a promotion of their product. Either way you look at it, right?
Yeah.
Why would you block someone that promotes your product for free? Now,
Yeah.
I'm just saying, obviously, it's because Bobby's mean, right?
Bobby's honest. I would say Bobby's
Right.
honest. That's what I would say.
You know,
And some
but
people don't like honesty.
I just thought it was weird, and it's like, I feel like Hasbro should have some sort of policy about that. Like, if you're just asking the dude, "Hey, what happened to Victory Saber?" Now, if you said, "Hey, idiot, what happened to Victory Saber? You dummy! I'm going to come after you and get your kids," then I could see, okay, block them, right? But you didn't say
Mhm.
that. You didn't say
No,
anything mean or crazy or
very
threatening,
respectful.
right? That's unacceptable. That's not good. But I
And I
mean,
mean,
I
long
don't
time
care.
Transformers fan.
Yeah,
Expendable income there that you can. I mean, here's the thing, and this is the silver lining when it comes to these things. I don't spend as much on Transformers anymore. I've dialed it way back since that incident. Like, there's some
sure.
Transformers that I would have bought, and I would have said, "Yeah, I'll get that." Not a top tier character, or a character that I love, and I'd say, "Oh, okay." But you know where my money actually went then? It went towards Valaverse when Valaverse did the likes of the reissue there of Kerak, and when they did the Bone Collector. So I was more than happy to give my money down to Valaverse and put it forward as things are moving on, like with the likes of the Swarm Tracer. I'm very excited to get my 4 in. I'm more excited about the Swarm Tracer coming in than an awful lot of Hasbro products that I have pre-ordered.
Yeah.
I am
Yeah, I mean,
so excited about that.
so let me just a quick aside. I gotta say, man, I'm not trying to rub it in, Ninja.
Now you are rubbing it in.
But these Storm Tracers are so cool.
That is deadly.
And everyone's gonna be like, "Oh, it's just another repaint." Yeah, but I mean, and I was on record saying I don't care about glow in the dark.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got this in hand, and the glow in the dark is crazy. Like I have a black light. You throw a black light on this and turn the lights off, and it's like a light bulb.
Does
It's
anything else show up on that black light when you turn the lights off by any chance?
I mean, I got a couch over there. A few things.
Okay.
Yeah. Mostly just like mustard stains and nacho cheese.
Oh yeah. The usual
Right.
suspect.
Yeah. But yeah, cool figure.
The best use of glow in the dark that I've seen for quite some time. I have some of the Animal Warriors of the Kingdom stuff in particular. Their glow in the dark weapons, and they light up, man. They really light up a room. But those Swarm Tracers, I've seen people posting pictures in the 3POA group on Facebook, and they are next level. Next level.
For sure. And so this head, as you can see, has black paint with the glow in the dark visor. The other one, the traditional, the first release sculpt with like the bug eyes.
Yeah.
That one is painted gray with the glow in the dark eyes, and that gray looks so cool against the translucent parts. I love that look.
It's very cool. I have the Wasp Raider. That's one of my favorites that I have in the collection. I love it, and I know that was the BotCon exclusive. I would love more, can we say Transformer related repaints in the line? Can we do that? Like, can we say that? Is that possible?
I think you could say Transformer tributes.
Tributes. Okay, so we'll go with tributes.
It was definitely a tribute. The BotCon guys asked Bobby for an exclusive, and they came up with that, and it was a big success. And unfortunately, as an exclusive, I think Bobby is hesitant to re-release it, and I know a lot of people missed out because it was early in the line. They didn't know about the line, but that thing was up for pre-order for 2 years before it sold out. Yeah.
And it's selling on the aftermarket as well too. That's another one that costs a chunk of change on the aftermarket too.
It does, yeah.
I opened mine and I was like, this costs a lot of money if I was to resell, but I love it too much to just open it and just have it displayed. I love it.
Yep. Suka says, "Did you see the canceled concept repaints of Action Force for
Yes,
Dinobot and Black Arachnia?"
and I want them. I just want to put that on record that I want them.
Okay. All right, let's get back into 16,000 second unlock. It's the space bridge. Comes apart as like 2 display stands for the bots, but then it
Yeah,
can also combine right there.
yeah,
And
it's
this is
cool.
not, yeah. I think this is a good unlock. Like, it's not essential, but if you get it, it's a nice little bonus, and I think that's what unlocks should be.
Yeah, I do think so. I don't think things. I think they learned a lot from that Marvel Legends Haslab when they tried to put stuff in behind the Haslab, like Mephisto. I think they were like, okay, we won't do that again. And then you
They
see Goblin Queen come out then in the 97 wave,
right, fully clothed.
What do they have against that? Have you played Tekken 8 by any chance lately?
I haven't played Tekken since probably Tekken 2.
Dude, I'm telling you, I was playing the game, okay, and I'd played Mortal Kombat, the most recent one, and all the women are not attractive in the game, but they had
Oh,
this woman walks into an arena, and I am not joking, stuff was bouncing, and your woman looked beautiful in Tekken 8, and I'm like, this is insane. This is coming from Japan. This is insane.
yeah,
It looks so good. And
but
Mortal Kombat then, yikes.
Japan doesn't care about
No,
political correctness, or they're like, "What are you talking about? We like, big boobies on our female characters."
these things were hopping
Yeah.
on the screen. I was like, right.
Oh. um. Okay. so, so here's Omega Prime. Now, who is he next to? Is this the last Haslab? Is that
Yeah, that's Victory Saber. So, well, actually,
Victory
that's the
Saber?
last good guy. Haslab. The previous one that just came out was Death Source, who was
That's the
probably
stars.
in and around the same size. I don't know. I don't know whether they've gone for Transformers that wear high heels or something like that recently. I don't know what the story is with that. I don't get it. You know.
So, did you get Deathosaurus, or were you like passing on it because you didn't get Victory Saber?
What ended up happening with me was I made a video and I said I was after backing Unicron, I received Unicron, but I wouldn't back another Haslab again after not getting anything as a result insofar as like they didn't fix anything. And what happened was then people related to me, they watch my channel also, and they bought them as a bit of a gotcha. And also, we knew that you couldn't do without, so they bought me my Victory Saber and Death
Oh,
Swords that I have. So again, very nice gifts from some very lovely people,
well,
and
that's cool.
yeah, so from some very beloved family members, and yeah, so I have both of them, and
And what I mean, how are you happy with them? And how did it come? Like, how did the quality come out?
Victory Saber has a problem, which was when they did that plastic-free packaging nonsense. He see the gold pieces that's on his chest there. Can you see those? Like the foil kind of that's on it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right
so
there in the
that
middle.
ended up all scratched up, and a lot of people's had theirs completely scratched off because they had one of those rubber bands that was, well, I don't know if rubber band is the correct term, but they had one of those plastic ties. They had them across that, so it scratched up that gold. So they learned from their lessons from that and actually did a better job at the packaging on Death Sword. So Death Sword actually came out without any issues. The one that I have. That's not to say that nobody else had issues, but the one that I have is fine.
It was Anthony's Customs who reviewed it, and he had the scratches on the gold parts as well on his.
I like Anthony Customs reviews as well because he's just honest. He's blunt. I really like them. It's like articulated
Straightforward.
ninjas. It's
He's not.
straightforward, no missing.
Yeah, he doesn't sugarcoat anything. He's just like, here it is. He's objective. I think he's the best objective reviewer that we have.
I also think that the Transformers actually feel quite light. Like
Hmm.
they're not heavy. I've Transformers there from when I was a kid, and like they're still chunky pieces of plastic, and there's heft to them. The ones recently feel very, very light, very hollow.
Really,
Yeah,
even as a Haslab.
yeah. I actually think that they feel very light, and they're smaller as well too than what you would have had originally. Now, not the G1 ones here, like I suppose Death Saurus and Victory Saber. An argument could be made that says, well, the originals are heavy because they're blocks and they're bricks and they don't move, and these are lighter to enable movement. But a
Yeah,
lot of their figures lately are very light.
yeah. I mean, it. I thought War for Cybertron had pretty good articulation. Has that carried on into this other stuff and these newer Haslabs?
Yeah, and the articulation's really good. I have to say, as someone that's a fan of articulation, it's really good. Like, I can't really complain about it from that point of view. I would like to see the hollowness go away, and I would like to see them be a little bit more weighty, but that's not
Yeah,
going to happen. They're not going to get heavy again.
right. Yeah, I got some third party parts for like my War for Cybertron Soundwave and Blaster, and it looks good. But man, you get those 3D printed parts so they don't look hollow, right? And then
Yeah,
it's like, well, I just spent enough to buy 2 of these figures, just
yeah.
to make this one figure look good. So
To get it done right the first time, yeah, they could have done it
right,
right the first time, but you have to. And do you know what the thing is? There's some people in the community that actually suspect that there's some ulterior motives as to why some of those parts are left so hollow and so obvious. Now, again, I don't know, but
yeah.
there's some people out there that speculate as to why.
Like, okay, what's their speculation?
The speculation is that some things are glaringly omitted so as that other companies can benefit from it, and they wonder if there's anybody that's involved in any of these companies that is behind the said company that does the third party work, because it's unusual
Hmm.
how they can get away with an awful lot of what they do
Hmm. Interesting. Okay.
and the timelines.
Right. Okay. So I guess final thoughts on this thing. Again, guys, I have Ninja Knight on here because I'm not real familiar with Transformers, so this is going to be an easy pass for me. But just your final thoughts on this, and then I want to get into some of our dream Transformer Haslab projects.
Yeah, I think. Look, I think overall, I think when we were looking at the cost of it, I think applying it to what you would buy in retail, if you're buying it at full price, I think it's probably a good deal. I think it looks very cool. I think it looks good. I think the fact that it's a limited quantity is always going to be something that if you're a completionist, for example, I think it's going to be very difficult to pass. It's an Optimus Prime, really difficult to pass out, especially when you can line it up with other Optimus Primes and have like a multiversal idea. I personally think it would have been a great retail item and it would have been probably something that could have been a contender for figure of the year. But the fact that it's behind the Haslab, the fact that it's a 40th anniversary, I think leaves a sour and bitter taste in the mouth of a lot of fans when they wanted a Cybertron / Primus. So I think it'll get over the line. I think it's a decent Haslab, but I think now they've started to notice that the way that they can have a successful Haslab is an item like this that could be released at retail, that's cheap enough that people are happy enough with the price, and that's how they'll go on. I don't think they're going to take big risks anytime soon. Like Giant Man proved that for me, I think, as well. That's one of your better brands, one of your more well-known brands, and they're not going to
Mm,
take big risks. Like the Hiss tank, I know you've handled it. I've handled the Hiss tank. I actually think it's quite light. I
mm-hmm.
think it feels very light,
I think
and
that's a fair um, position. Yeah.
I think the Dragonfly is going to feel light as well.
Hmm.
I don't think it's going to be heavy. You know what I mean?
Right.
So when you factor that all in, and then you have the Vanguard coming, that's not a crowd-funded item. I think the Vanguard's going to be really good, and I'm saying, well, yeah, I'm happy with that.
I've carried the Vanguard around. Well, at least the prototype. I don't really recall like what it weighed or how it felt. I didn't touch the actual prototype,
Right.
but I carried the box that it was in.
Okay. And how did that feel to you?
I don't recall. It felt. It didn't feel light. It
Yeah.
just felt like I don't know.
The
It felt
car.
like you would think it would. Now this is a link you sent to me because you wanted to bring this up for
Yeah.
comparison. This is the Pengu Toys PT-01 Commander Optimus Prime oversized with LED. So this
Yeah.
does have electronics.
And it has an LED in the matrix as well too. When you open his chest and take out the matrix, so
Okay.
that has an LED. So that's 164, as you can see there, 165. It's 18 inches tall, and
Okay.
I mean,
That's big.
I think the price says it all in the
Yeah.
comparison. Now, this is a third party item, so this isn't an official release. Now, Hasbro obviously own Transformers; that's their own brand. So, for anyone that's saying, "Well, it's a licensing issue," because I know that they like to wheel that excuse out when it comes to Marvel and DC. Oh, not
Yep.
DC, excuse me. I think Star Wars. Um, what happens is here now you've got Optimus Prime. I mean, this is a not Optimus Prime.
Right.
There's no licensing fee on these things, like GI Joe either. You know.
Exactly. This looks really cool, and it's 18. So this is 5 inches taller than Omega Prime.
Yeah.
and it has electronics, and it's $90 less.
Yep.
Huh. And do you think they're making? Well, do you think they're making 16,000 of these? I
I
mean, what
think
would the production run on this be?
I don't know what the production run will be, to be quite honest. But I would say it's going to be pretty successful. Like, put it this way, the guy who's doing the comics for Skybound, Daniel Warren Johnson, I think the name is, if I'm
Mhm.
not mistaken, he actually has one of these at a smaller scale, so he can pose Optimus in certain positions to then draw him. He actually pulled it up on one of his streams, and people were like going mental in the chat, and they were saying, You've pulled out a third party item of a character that you're drawing for this company. It's insane.
Cool.
Now, we will say this is based off the MP44, so people will say, well, there's no R&D that's gone into this and they've copied and stuff like that. And I hear those claims 100%, but I don't know how you can't release something like this if you're a multi-billion-dollar company.
Yeah, I don't get it either. Of course, I think Hasbro probably has a lot more overhead than a third-party company like this, right?
For sure.
Outside of that, now it looks like this doesn't transform, or does it?
Oh, no, he transforms you.
Oh wow, okay, cool.
So he
Trying to see
transforms
him.
into a truck.
Oh yeah, there it is. Okay.
Yeah.
And so, what is this one he's next to? Is that the MP?
I think that's the previous Magic Square version of it, which is probably in around. Oh, I can't think of the inch size now. I'm not sure what it would be, but yeah, I think that's the normal MP sized transformer, and then that's him above there at 18 inches.
Yeah.
That's quite a large figure.
Oh, and then this is the one I have. This is the one behind it. Is that the Lewin? No, that's not the Lewin. That's not the. Or is it? Don't look at mine.
You can't tell.
I can't tell either. No, it's not. The hips are different. No, the hips are. I'm sure someone in the chat will tell me. But if this is 18, yeah, this would be about 26, 27, which is what the Lewin is.
Yeah.
The Lewin Atlas. Yeah. Wow. And still, that one is nice. What's she doing there?
Yeah, she's having a good time.
Yeah.
She's copping a feel.
Well, Optimus is having a good time. I want to see him in truck mode here. They don't have an. Oh, there it is. Oh, that looks clean, man.
Yeah, it's very clean. Yeah,
that's a good Optimus.
It's based off of like the MP44, like I said, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And that thing was $400, $450.
Yep.
Let's see here. Rocco the Great, thank you for the super chat. Live this Monday, 9 p.m. Eastern time. Ryan joins me on my channel for a live stream. That's right. So day after tomorrow, I will be on Rocco's channel. He puts hashtag Hasbro sucks. PS love Ninja's voice. Getting a lot of that.
I appreciate it.
I think a lot of people here. This is their first time hearing you. I learned about you and your channel through Talker Art.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah, he gave me a bunch of channels to check out. You were in there, and the Drunken Prime was in there.
Yeah.
So
Talker is another legend. I loved that stream that you. I loved any time you brought him on, because he's just so unpredictable. You know, especially when he's on a stream, he can say literally anything, and I love that. I think he's hilarious.
Right. I'd like to get him back on, but he's kind of living out of a trailer right now while he builds his new house in Florida. So I think give him time to do that, and then once he's set up for a live stream, we'll get him back on.
Yeah, big shout out to him. What a legend.
Absolutely. And Rocco, big shout out to you, man. Thanks for that super chat, and I look forward to talking to you on Monday at 6 p.m. Pacific, which is like 2 a.m. for Ninja Night.
I'll definitely catch the replay.
Yeah. And then we got this one here from Show Z Store, the O1 Studio Seed Primus, the creator, for 300. Okay. Now this thing must be huge then. If it's okay, well, it's 17.72 inches high. Okay.
So that's when you factor that in. This is a Haslab. Well, I mean, that's not a Haslab. This is a third party item, but this is an item that people wanted. It's the same price and it's taller. You know?
It is. Well, yeah, I mean, it's $50 more, but to be fair, if you're coming into Hasbro Pulse just for this Haslab, you're paying $50 for shipping, right? Because you're going to get the Hasbro Pulse premium, and that's $50. Or if you just pay for shipping on one item, I think it's $15 to $20. It might be more for a Haslab, not sure.
That's another
But
thing. They're charging for shipping on this Haslab as well. It's €10 to ship the Haslab, so it actually makes it €300 if you're to buy it from Hasbro Pulse EU.
okay, wow.
So if you're not a member of the premium, so there's actually well, I'm saying this now, I suppose, in this live stream, which is probably going to bite me, but there's no reason to be a member of the premium Pulse here in Europe.
Sounds like it. Yeah. I mean,
Like things out here don't seem to sell out really fast.
mhm.
Now again, I'm probably biting myself when I say that because they probably like lower the production quality over there.
Yeah, I mean that's it. That's going to hit us really hard here in 2024. Like I don't think we're going to be seeing a lot of the the discounted Ross and Ollie's stuff.
Definitely not in Transformers. I'm looking even
Right.
in our big superstore, Smith's Toys superstore. There's one of them
Right.
in Ireland, or there's multiples of them in Ireland, and multiples of them in the UK. Just as everybody knows, Ireland is not part of the UK, but
Right.
we have to just preface that. But these guys have now put the Transformers on an end cap. So actually, one of the smallest parts that you could put in the Transformers, that's where they're at now, and there's low quantities going in there. So it's worrying times as a Transformers fan because especially when the prices are creeping up.
Yeah, so I mean you guys have very limited retailers that carry this stuff, right? So I mean you mentioned Smiths, but it's not like you guys have Walmarts and Targets and GameStops and stuff like we do over here.
No, we have specialty comic shops. So we have got Forbidden Planet, for example, that are in
Sure.
Dublin, and then Big Bang Comics. So they're kind of the biggest ones that would be here, that would be outside of Smith's Toy Superstores, that would carry stuff like this.
Yeah. And Show Z store, look at this. Free shipping to United States.
There you go.
So you're $300 out the door because I don't even think I bought from Show Z store before. That's where I got the Lewin Atlas, and I don't think I paid sales tax on this either. I think it was the Lewin Atlas was over 300. I think it was about the same cost as the Haslab Sentinel, which was 350. But yeah, it was free shipping and I didn't pay tax.
Yeah, that's nice. And sales taxes work really weirdly to do in America because I've been to a couple of different states and it's like, hey, this thing is $20, and it's like you get hit with a bill of 25, and you're like, well, where is this coming from? And they're like, oh no, there's tax on that. Oh well.
Yeah. So the sales tax is a state level tax. It's not. There's no federal sales tax, so it varies from state to state. Some states don't have sales tax, like Delaware and Oregon, but
Yeah,
Washington is towards the higher end of sales tax. We have a 10% sales tax. So anything you
yikes.
pick up off the shelf, any consumer goods,
Yeah.
toys included, it's throw another 10% on top at the register.
Ours is all baked into the price. So when you
Yeah.
see something here in Ireland and it's €30, it's €30. But like if you do get the tax, then it does break it down to see what you should be paying as such, and then you've got the taxes added on then. And then we
Right.
get hit with customs fees for anything that's outside of the EU. So it means that if we buy something from the UK and it comes to Ireland, we get hit with a customs tax then on top of that. So it's insane the amount of money that you have to pay, even
Mhm.
from America. So
Right.
Hasbro Pulse EU is working a little bit, but not to the way we would like to go.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of people over that way complaining about it.
Yeah, it's a strange one. Like putting all the GI Joe classified behind that now is really irritating. And I know one of the shops, I probably shouldn't name the shop, but they put out a fairly lengthy email, and they were pretty peeved at Hasbro for them taking the GI Joe
Oh,
classified away from them.
Kapow?
No, that's in the UK, but
Oh,
they were upset about the tidal wave, the Transformers tidal wave. They were like, "We are not
gotcha.
stocking this," as this they're taking some final stand. But
Yeah,
all they did was drive business to other companies around them. They
right.
didn't make any comment about Valaverse though. It's really weird, that one.
Yeah, that's I won't comment on that because I don't know enough. But anyway, this transformer looks cool. Now this is what's this guy's name? They got the third party name here,
So yeah,
right?
so they actually have a Studio Seed. I actually think they call it Primus. Do they? They
Oh,
do.
so yeah, it is Primus. Okay,
They
they're
call
like
it
screw it, just
Primus.
put Primus in the title.
Oh, stop. I think it's Latin anyway. I think Primus, isn't it, for forced? So they probably could get away with it from that point of view. I
I
don't
mean,
think there's a trademark on it.
when I hear Primus, I just think of the band. So
Oh yeah, that's a fair point. So it
that's
actually turns
cool.
into a very Cybertron-esque looking ball.
That would look cool next to your Haslab Unicron.
Yeah. But
Cool.
apparently this isn't feasible at a price that people would pay. Like, that's according to the designers and the people that work at Hasbro. Isn't that
Sure.
strange?
Sure.
I felt like
Well,
sending the link and be like, "Look at this. What are you talking about?"
this guy and the other one, the 18-inch Prime, is on Show Z store, so you guys can check that out if you want it. All right, so there's the Haslab. Now, I want to get into some of the the consumer comments that you so kindly screenshotted for me. Because I like I said, I didn't watch the live stream, and I didn't really get into the comments too much, and I'm not real familiar with how the Transformer fandom is. But actually, I got a couple super chats here that I want to get to before we do that. I got Taracos. I got Not Top Goon here with the super chat. Thank you, sir. He says, "What's up, nerds? What's up, Goonie?" And then we got one from Master Son 42. Thank you. Man, this guy has a better Irish accent than Richard Gere in The Jackal. I love Transformers and have the Robots in Disguise, Optimus and Magnus Mitten box, but this is going to be a pass. Well, I've heard, I saw a lot of people saying they have that version, and that's why this one is a pass, because the version they have is good enough.
Yep.
So you're not alone on that. Thanks, Master Son. Tony Robles with the member chat. Thank you, Tony. Streaming Jesus, these Haslabs are getting mind-boggling. Indeed. Thanks for being a member for 6 months, Tony. And then Figure Fever with the super chat. Thank you, Figure Fever. He just hit 100 subs, by the way. Congratulations to him. Here, I'll give you some applause there. Good job, Figure Fever. He says, "Good evening, Ryan Ninja Knight." Good evening to you, sir.
Good evening.
Thank you for that super chat. Okay. So back to the user comments. So you sent me these screenshots. A lot of no's, hard pass, no.
These are tame, by the way. Some of the stuff that was said in the chat was like, ugh. I didn't know whether I wanted to send it to you because I was like, I don't know what way this will go.
Oh, I mean, you could send me. I don't care what they say. You can send it. I'll show it. But here's Daub Bear. He says, "But you said you'd never do an Optimus Prime as a Haslab. I am very surprised. It seems like a lot of this was negative, but now it's funding. Like it's at over 6,000, just a couple days into it." This guy Brian says, "You had me until I saw how lazy that Magnus is. Easy pass." Jake Noble, Optimus isn't bad. Magnus looks like garbage. Chris Wade, why did it have to be a Haslab? Kind of stuff that we covered.
Yep.
And yeah, here's this guy, Transform and Roll. Doesn't look like anything has changed. Looks like it's just the old mold.
Look at the amount of likes on those as well, too. That was the thing that stood out to me,
Yeah.
And that's on the Transformers official Instagram page as well. Like, and now, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of positive comments there, and there's a lot of positive things to say about it. Like, I do think the figure looks good. I think the articulation looks good. The price, I don't think you can complain about it too much.
James Blanco's complaining. He says the price is outrageous. He says you're pushing away your own fandom by charging so much. This is Hasbro's response to their failing revenue numbers. He's upset.
Yeah, he's upset.
But you know what? I say if that's your stance, like, stand firm, man.
Yeah.
Don't bend, because you shouldn't be overpaying for this stuff. And if you think you're overpaying, don't do it.
Well, what gets me is that you've got members of the Transformers team saying that they were conscious of the price, but then Hasbro released then the Ghost, what was it, 3-4 months ago? And that's a $500 item.
It's $500 spaceship, yeah.
So there's like nobody in the company is consistent. Like no team is consistent with the other. It's so strange.
Especially because, the Star Wars guys, we know they have to bake in that licensing cost, right? But Transformers don't have that. And I mean, honestly, I don't think 250 is that bad. But since it's made to order, obviously the production runs are going to be a lot lower. 16,000 is way lower than it would be if it was going to retail.
Yeah,
way lower. So that's going to bump the price up. We know that for a fact, just because we, Valaverse is very transparent. He was able to bring his prices down because his numbers have gone up, his production numbers. So, this guy Sparkplug Burns. I can't express my relief when I saw this was the Haslab. Yay! I get to keep my money. Another guy that already has the original Omega Supreme. So, Uncle Tim rants and reviews. What's up, fam?
That's another. What's up, fam? How are you getting on, fam? Today, fam, we're going to talk about something that's really been bothering me. I love him. I have to say, I think Uncle Tim is brilliant.
It's a community.
That's a community. And a 15-minute rant. I love it.
Right? He says, "Nah, F that. How you going to crowdfund an Optimus Prime, your most famous character? Hasbro be tripping. They just sold $100 Commander Optimus at retail with another on the way. Just sale the Ultra Magnus separate. Plus, Hasbro isn't doing too good right now. They might take our money and run. I don't know if they'll do that. I don't think they're doing that bad. Maybe. I mean, hey, what do I know? Maybe they're going to go bankrupt any day now and take your money and run." He says he loves the toy, but just can't support this business model. And I got a nice original 2001 Optimus already at a comic shop for $40 last year. So there we go. Shout out to Uncle Tim. Yeah, like him. All right. So there's some community thoughts there. So while we streamed for the past hour and 20 minutes, it's gotten 3 backers, 6,366. A lot of time though, 40 days.
We got a solid 3 backers there from this stream that have backed it since. Such positive words have been said about it,
Yep. Hey, here. Hold on. Let me take this off. Here we go. Starlord 15 says, "Is this Nin Night, my battle brother to troll and destroy commenters?"
Yes.
Yes, indeed. You are 9 Inch Nails Night on Facebook, right?
Yes, I would say Nin Night on Facebook. They said that Ninja wasn't the real first name. And I said, well, that's very funny, isn't it? Considering the fact you've asked me what gender I am and you've given me 50 options here on Facebook.
Right? Yeah, I do know his name isn't Ninja.
Yeah, I don't think that's out of the realm of possibilities. That's out of the realm of possibilities. But again, like I said,
I wanted to name my kid Ewan.
Okay.
Like Ewan McGregor.
Right.
Scottish guy. Have you heard of him? Okay.
I've heard of him, yeah.
But I wanted his middle name.
Small part role in Star Wars,
Sure. Train Spotting, great movie.
Oh, yeah.
But I wanted to call my son Ewan, and I wanted his middle name to be Danger.
Okay.
Ewan Danger. Wife wasn't having it. And I'm glad, because that would have been horrible for him, I'm sure.
It still would have been cool.
Yeah. I mean, so yeah, you could have been Ninja.
Yeah, you could have been Ninja. Absolutely, it's possible.
Yeah.
I regularly get those questions on the channel, by the way. Are you actually really Ninja? Are you a Ninja? What's the channel name about? And I'd be like, it's just something very basic I picked.
Yeah. All right. Let's see here. I'm going to the chat. Master Son says, "If this potato does not read my super chat, why is he so behind? Who does he think he is?" I read your super chat. Didn't I?
Yeah.
I read it.
When he says potatoes, you're referring to me. Is that an Irish attack or something?
Is that an Irish joke? Master Son, I read this. Maybe you were in the restroom, but I read this super chat. Did you send another one?
I can definitely confirm that Ryan did actually read that super chat.
Yeah. I'm scrolling back.
I was there.
I'm scrolling back for you, Master Son. I read the first one too. Did you send 3? No. I got your super chat. Okay.
I'm looking forward to Conor McGregor in this Roadhouse movie. This looks good.
It looks so good, man. I'm usually totally against like remakes of classic movies, but I saw that trailer and I'm in. I'm in for it. I want to see it in the theater.
Yeah, it looks decent, I have to say, and it's good to see Conor doing really well. That's someone, I tell you, I've seen him recently just on the Ultimate Fighter, and he bought toys. A kid made custom figures of Conor McGregor, and Conor McGregor bought the toys off the kid for his own son.
Yeah.
Just throwing it out there. Now Tim Kennedy's in the Action Force line.
Throw in Conor. That's not a bad idea. Now, Tony has made a Conor McGregor action figure. I mean, Bobby has made a Conor McGregor action figure before when he was at Jazzwares.
Oh, really? That was
He
Bobby as
worked
well,
on
was
the
it?
UFC Conor McGregor. Yeah, that was his line when he was at Jazzwares.
Okay. All right
So,
there.
yeah, he has that entire line, right? He has one of each. And he wants to get them all signed by the fighters. But he's like, I think Conor's going to be the hard one to track down to get him to sign it. But you live 20 minutes from Conor McGregor.
Yeah. Where he's originally from, yeah. He's living in a very well-to-do estate nowadays.
Oh, I'm sure, yeah.
But yeah, there's a couple of people around Dublin that should be able to get in touch with him. And he's definitely contactable, I think, on Twitter nowadays as well.
See, Bobby's got to get on Twitter.
Yeah, Bobby needs to get on Twitter. That's 100% a good idea.
Yeah, Master Son says, well, maybe I heard your voice and made me drop a deuce. Possible. And then he says he's just messing with me. Wife came in and bothered me with, you got it's Girl Scout cookie time. It is Girl Scout cookie season. We have this thing called the Girl Scouts here.
What's happening with that now? I've seen it in movies, but I don't understand. Can you explain that to me?
It's like a girls' club, and they sell cookies out in front of grocery stores.
Did they bake the cookies themselves?
No, they're factory made.
Okay, so that's interesting.
I'm surprised the stores let them do it because, if you're going to go in the store and buy cookies, but there's Girl Scouts out there, you might just buy those cookies and bounce.
Yeah.
The store loses the sale.
Yeah.
I'm going to start waiting out in front of Target with Action Force figures to sell and undercut classified sales.
That sounds like a good idea. Do you know what I was just going to ask you? And it's just something I was looking at today in the G.I. Joe classified line, and I was thinking to myself, like, because I have my Action Force guys and I have my G.I. Joe classified, and I like the way the Action Force stuff looks. Like, the characters look aggressive, but when you look at some of the classified stuff, you're like, nobody's going to be like. Imagine looking at Falcon and saying, it's a bad head sculpt, but would you be afraid of that guy? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You look at Carrick and you go, that guy's a lunatic.
Right. The guy's coming at me in some medieval helmet with a hatchet.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's way more scary than Willem Dafoe in a beret and a neckerchief.
And even Shipwreck. I was looking at Shipwreck as well. I like the character, but I don't know what way you feel about this. But I think when they were doing the original sci-fi wave and what we were going to get, I was a fan of that stuff. I really liked that. When they decided to go straight into the nostalgia, I think that Shipwreck looks ridiculous. Whereas if they did something more modern with him, I'd have been all over it.
Listen, Shipwreck is one of the ones I passed on, and I've seen him on sale for like $10-15. I left him on the shelf.
He's worth the $10.
I got a lot of figures, and I'm trying to get out of the habit of, it's only $10. I'm going to get it when I don't really want the figure. So that's why I passed up on Shipwreck.
Yeah, that's a bad habit to have. I have that habit often as well.
Dang, Master Son says Girl Scout cookie sales are a $1 billion industry. Well, I won't feel bad when I pass them by and don't buy them then. They're doing fine. They don't need me. And then Jeff Moore says, if you did that, Ryan, I would totally buy Action Force toys outside of Target. We need this to happen.
I think you should have like a coat like Raphael wears in the TMNT movie. You know, the one where like even the Thing wears as well from the Marvel Comics. One of those trench coats. Yeah. Well, hey kids, you want some Action Force?
What I would have to do is I would have to dress like a Girl Scout.
That'd work.
Then, that might work.
Listen, you're in Seattle. Everyone knows.
I would fit more in if I did that than I do now.
For sure. Absolutely.
Let's see. I got a super chat here from Big Time Nerd 1990. Thank you for this, sir. He says, a lot of potato mashing tonight. Indeed. You get the white potato and you got an Irish guy.
Yeah.
A lot of potatoes happening here. Yeah. I just need some whiskey because I'm almost out. Channel members, by the way, stay tuned. I haven't set up the link, but I will do an after show tonight after we wrap this up.
What is your whiskey of choice at the moment?
It's a very exclusive and expensive type of whiskey called Kirkland brand.
Nice.
Sold at a very nice distillery called Costco.
Oh, yeah, I'm very familiar with Costco, yeah.
Kirkland is their in-house brand, so it's Costco's whiskey. But it tastes fine, and it's good to mix, so there you go. But if I'm going to drink straight whiskey, I like bourbons, and my go-to is a Woodford Reserve.
Nice, very nice. How
I
much
do
is that?
like I do like some Irish whiskeys. Okay, I mean,
There's some good
I'll
ones.
yeah, I'll tip back some Jameson.
Yeah, Jameson's good. There's a nice distillery here as well. If you're ever in Ireland, make sure you do the tour. That's a good one, and it's very interesting. I think Conor McGregor's whiskey as well too. It hasn't a lot of whiskey connoisseurs aren't huge fans of it, but I think it needs to age before it really steps up. You know, I think it needs a good few more years. But I like Redbreast myself. I really like that one.
Never heard of it, but I'll look into it. So my plan. You mentioned me going to Ireland. I
Yeah,
think the plan is with us. Oh, well, thank you. I didn't expect that.
service with a smile also.
Yes, she is smiling. Thank you.
Very nice.
What? Oh, what is this? The oh yeah, that's the one from Vishay and Samantha. Yeah, that's the 100 proof. Wow.
Nice.
Uh, thank you, Vishay and Samantha. Um, so the plan is when so the legal drinking age in Ireland is 16 or 18.
I think recently it's a long time since that's happened. I think it's 18 here it is. And it's that's so
Oh,
strange when you go to America then you're like, I'm able to drink in Ireland, but you go to America and it's like, no, you can't do it here.
I for some reason I thought it was 16. Maybe in some countries it's 16.
I don't know, it's so long ago now that like obviously I don't look into that now anymore. I actually might
Right.
look that up and see what it is. What's the legal age here in Ireland?
Well, our plan was to go over that way, and not just Ireland, but go to Scotland and other places. But the plan was to take the family when my kid was 16, so it's a couple years out. But I've never been, and so it's definitely a bucket list trip for me. I definitely want to make it over there.
Definitely come over, and I mean there's a lot of cons that are done here as well, and there's some really good ones like Dublin Comic Con is a good one. Yeah, it's 18 years of age is the legal minimum here in Ireland. I just looked it up. Yeah, there's a lot of good cons here as well too. Dublin Comic Con is good. They do two a year. They do one in March, so they do a spring edition, and then they do another one then in the summer. So Carl Weathers was actually supposed to appear at the one in March. R.I.P. Carl Weathers.
Yeah,
And
yes. Hey, thanks for bringing that up. I almost forgot. Yeah. Uh, Tragic loss there, man. Unexpected. He went in his sleep, so it was painless, thankfully. But man, what a shock.
76 years of age though, like you know what I mean. The guy looked great for 76,
He
didn't he?
did. He did. He was still built, man.
Yeah, he was
Dude.
jacked.
Yeah, he was jacked, dude. Like, yeah, I mean, he was an NFL player, and he
Yeah,
turned actor. And him and Sylvester Stallone they basically looked like action figures in
yeah.
the Rocky movies. But he actually kept a home here in
Okay,
Washington State for a little while. My sister-in-law worked at a restaurant that he would frequent, and he fancied himself a tuna fish sandwich every now and then.
okay.
So she said he was the nicest guy, and everyone who has been talking about him on Twitter, including Gina Carano, has
hmm
has just been really busted up over this, and they've had nothing but positive things to say about him. So yeah, it's a true loss, and my thoughts go out to his family.
So many iconic movies as well. Like he was someone I was hoping to meet in March, and because he was in Predator, as you know, he was Apollo
Yeah,
Creed, his
yeah.
brief Carragher, and also then he was Chubbs in the Happy Gilmore movie, which I love that movie. Just
Everyone's been
tap it
posting
in.
that picture of him with the
The
alligator.
crocodile. Just tap it in. Just give it a tap tap taparoo.
Tap it in. Yeah. Let's see. Gavin says, "Mom says that's for tater smashing later, whatever that means."
Yikes.
Oh boy. All right. Well, let's wrap this up. Channel members, thank you so much. Stay tuned for the after show. Ninja Night, thanks for coming on the channel. Of course, you're welcome to join me on the after show where we can cut loose a little bit,
Sure.
get a little spicy,
Absolutely.
and just kind of talk about whatever we want.
That'd be great. And
So
thanks very much for having me on. I really appreciate it. It's been an absolute blast here. This time has just flown by, and I really
yeah,
appreciate the show that you guys do. I love
thank
the
you.
fact that you guys tell the truth and how honest and open you are. And I like listening to it whilst I'm watching the UFC as well. So me, Tony, and Bobby have something in common there, and you're out on the sideline. So I appreciate the fact that you troop on. I guess it was Saturday night.
Yeah. Um, real quick, there was a question that I starred, and before we end, I want to get to this question. It's from my buddy Greg. He says, question for you guys: how do the Transformer third-party companies get away with their knockoffs so much, yet someone like Ace gets in trouble for Mask?
That's a great question, and that's what kind of doubling back on what I was saying earlier on, which is there are a number of companies that have been doing things for a long time and don't seem to have gotten any sort of, would solicitations be the correct word there? They haven't seemed to have gotten any sort of cease and desist or anything like that. Some companies now have gone out of business and they have like ceased production and they change names. Some of
Yeah.
them do, but I don't know. That's a great question, and that's why it's fueled a lot of speculation around the fandom as to how these companies are in existence. And sometimes I think it benefits Hasbro in an awful lot of ways. Sometimes if someone takes a crack at a figure first and they can see how they can improve it, maybe. Now, again, it's all speculation.
Also, a C&D doesn't really mean much. It just means we're aware of what you're doing. Please stop. It doesn't mean that they're going to go after him and sue him, because it's really hard to sue some of these foreign companies, right?
Hmm.
It'd be really hard for Hasbro to go in and, go Hasbro and Mattel to go after Ace with legal action because of where he's located. That goes for other third-party companies. It's not impossible, but it's not easy, and it's going to be worth the money because a lot of these third-party companies are putting out very low production run items.
Yeah.
So it's not really affecting them. Now, the exception to that was, we talked about this earlier, the Unicron Haslab. Remember that?
Yeah.
A third-party company was trying to do a Unicron at the same time, and Hasbro did shut them down.
Yeah.
Remember that? So if it's going to directly affect them, especially probably with the Haslab, Hasbro will go in and shut them down. But
Especially when
yeah,
the third party one looks better than the actual official item.
right.
It has to be really difficult for them when you're like, oh. Like that Primus there looks great. I don't know how Hasbro, and maybe that's why they're not touching Primus, because they're like, can't really outdo that one.
Yeah, it could be. Maybe there's just not enough profit in it for them. That maybe their margins would have to be too tight. So like, screw it, just let them do it. They'll make a few thousand of them. Hasbro's really not losing that much. Of course, Hasbro needs all the money they can get right now.
Oh yeah, and it's like even the AliExpress clone troopers. Have you seen any of those? They're churning out clone troopers that faster than Hasbro with different helmets and different paint styles that people actually want. It's crazy.
Oh no, I haven't really been paying attention to that, but I feel like I have enough clone troopers. That's all Hasbro makes anymore.
They have me
Jeez.
on the hook for clone troopers anytime they release them.
I like them.
Army
I like
builders.
them. I'm just a little burnt out. I want aliens is what I want. So yeah,
Big changes coming for them for Star Wars anyway. Patrick is no longer with them.
right. Yeah, he's over at Nerf. It was either Nerf or nothing.
Probably Nerf was probably the best place to put him.
It's a really stupid joke I just made. Anyway, with that stupid joke out of the way, I will say thank you everyone for tuning in. Thank you again, Ninja Knight, and channel members. Stay tuned for the after show. Later, everyone.